Hi everybody, John here again. I'm going to talk about the trip to Leeds and the VC meetup. I think most people that were there have already sort of published their videos and accounts of it, but I thought I'd tell my version of events now. So before I go any further, I'll just say that we're listening to this. I'll talk a bit more about this record in a while, but this current track is a comp, Thelonious Monk. We can hear it at the back at the moment, doing It Don't Mean a Thing if it ain't got that swing. Anyway, yeah, so brilliant weekend, had a really good time. I had a little bit further to go than most, I think, and I was probably travelling from the furthest south. So I rented a car and drove up, arranged to stop in an Airbnb the night before. The whole idea really is to sort of give me an early start on the Saturday when we were supposed to meet. And I arrived, I don't know, just outside Leeds around about 9-10 o'clock I suppose. And then slept in a very nice R&B, so well that when I woke up it was around about 10:30, 11 I think, which is roughly when the record fair was sort of opening. So I don't know, both good and bad. Good to get a good night's sleep, at the same time frustrating because, you know, I had to kind of rush then, get up, have a shower, get dressed, find something to eat somewhere, and then make my way into Leeds, which I'd never been to before, so I had absolutely no idea really where I was going. So eventually I parked the car and managed to find my way on foot, and everybody I seemed to be sort of asking were coming from the event anyway, from the record fair. I could see people walking along with bags of records and things, and they all said, oh yeah, back that way, back that way. So I eventually got there, turned up outside the building where the record fair was, and there was James and Dean standing there waiting for me, which is really good of them. Felt really good. I'd met James before and never met Dean before, so that was, you know, brilliant. Dean is probably one of the VC people that I've watched for longest. So yeah, it's almost a little bit like meeting up a celebrity of some kind, you know. Really nice to see Dean. He's actually quite a nice feet on the ground kind of guy, so felt great. We went from there to look for the rest of the people that were there for the meetup. They'd gone off to find a coffee somewhere, so we went and walked to look for them, and they weren't in a cafe, they ended up in a pub. Now the excuse was that the cafes were too full, but I don't really believe any of that. I think they just headed for the pub. But anyway, went there, sat round, and that was a really surreal moment. All of a sudden seeing people there that you know because you sat and looked at them and watched them and listened to them. You know a little bit about their records and what kind of music they enjoy, but you'd never met them before. That was kind of a strange feeling. Martin Parrott was there, and I've met Martin, 2 or 3 times now, stayed in his house, he put me up once. Oh, we even did a record fair. So meeting Martin it's a little bit like meeting an old friend, you know, which is really nice. He and I had that sort of direct sort of familiarity, that contact, like, hi mate, you know, that was really good. Who was there that I didn't know? There was Headley, that I hadn't met before. There was John Dowling, hadn't met him before. There was Chris. He doesn't make many videos anymore, but you know, somebody I've watched before. And then there was Steve Whitty, who was next along. Great to see him, minus the beard. And then and then there was Martin, and then on the other side of Martin there was James Griffiths, Dean, and then me. look at this, I passed around my flip camera for everyone to sort of say a little message into the camera, and you know, this is a bit of a prosperity, I suppose, really. It's a bit shaky, so enjoy this. You might enjoy just seeing everybody in the loop. What's the name of this place? Where are we? We're in Leeds Brewery. Leeds Brewery. We started here. So I'm going to pass this around and ask everybody to say a comical little message to the rest of the VC. So to my left is Headley. Pass it along.
Hello VC, lovely day in Leeds, lots of records, probably show you them at some point. John, yours. John, take it.
Say hello and pass it along. Spontaneous. Spontaneity. What? You did it very well. Good shot under the desk.
What way am I shooting? That way? Hello VC, this is Chris. You will never have seen me because I don't post videos anymore. Yeah, bought loads of records, and I'm now going to pass you on to Steve.
Thanks.
Oh, hang on.
I can't wait to see that.
All right there, VC. Cheers.
It's all like this.
I've only had the bloody one, I know.
Whose channel is this going on? Yours?
It's showing us just how close it's shaven now.
Yeah.
What happened to the beard, Steve?
What happened to the beard? It's like all women, I fancy the change, you know.
I think it's coming back a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's been lazy, Larry's mate. Yeah, hope everyone's doing great. We've having a great time in Leeds. I'll pass you on to Martin.
Hi, my name's Martin. I've drank my pint. We are in Leeds. I feel really self-conscious. Hello, everybody. Hi.
Short and sweet. Hi guys, Dean here, in Leeds as always, with this motley crew. So you have to get meta reference in somewhere. See you later guys.
Right, I think we're going to go and look at some records in record shops now. Dean's going to show us around. And there's John in case you missed it. So we sat there, had a beer or two, chatted. Really great, you know, just to say hello and chat and talk to people. And then, I don't know how it happened, but I'd taken one or two records there to sort of give to people because I meant to give them, send them as VCLT, but I didn't. And other people did the same as well. So, and somebody remarked, and it was a bit like Christmas morning, you know, because everyone was exchanging gifts. That was really fun. James pulled this one out and gave it to me. This is Riverside Giants of Jazz. James is a bit of a jazz mentor to me. He was sort of the person that kind of got me into it. So that was nice to receive this. He probably did tell me something about it, and probably did tell me where it came from and that sort of thing, but to be honest, yeah, there was so much going on, there was so much information happening and people swapping things, I missed what he would have said. So hey James, maybe you and I can Skype or something and talk about this. I can tell you what I've learned about it though, just for reading up. It's a compilation of this record label called Riverside, which was initially set up as a way to reissue and I guess preserve some of the earlier sort of trad jazz music that came out in '78, right from the sort of the 1920s, jazz and blues. That was its purpose, but through time, and it would have been about the 1950s, I suppose, when it was set up. But in its time, because of its sort of involvement in jazz and blues, it sort of ended up being like a main distributor of some of the modern jazz artists that come out at the time. So yeah, like I said, you got Thelonious Monk on here, Johnny Griffin's big soul band, that's who we're listening to now, Wes Montgomery, Charlie Bird Trio, lots of big names like that on here, all that were sort of issued and published on this label. Great record, enjoying it. So from there we went to look at some of the record stores that were around. Dean is familiar with Leeds. I mean, he lives quite close to Leeds, and he sort of took us to some of these places. He mentioned on the way about there being some kind of a vinyl triangle, which sounded a bit like a place where aeroplanes go missing and ships sink. But I don't know. We went first of all to a shop called the Wall of Sound. This is the bag that I got from Wall of Sound. It was a good record shop. The used records, I think, were mainly downstairs, if I remember right. Got a flyer from them. There wasn't an awful lot of space. I guess they probably don't get groups of, I don't know what, 7 or 8 middle-aged men appear all at once. So it was a bit crowded with us down there, but it was fun to go. And I picked up a record there by the Enid. Enid are a progressive rock band, British band. This is their second album, possibly the third, 1976. And they're a band that I've known of for a long time, but I just didn't have any of their records. And this is one of their sort of more iconic records. The next one after this is one that I'm also looking out for. What was it called? Airy Fairy something. But yeah, it's great stuff. I've been listening to this. It's on EMI International label. See if I can put in a little needle drop with this. And then from there we walked to the next point in the triangle. We went to a shop called Relics Records. These are all places that I assume Dean goes to when he pops into Leeds to look for records. And there I found a copy of Bark by Jefferson Airplane. As far as I can tell, and this only cost me a £5, but as far as I can tell, this is like an original US pressing. One of those that, when it was released, most probably came in the sort of the grocery bag with the big JA on the front. It didn't come with the bag, but it's got the insert. There you go. Jefferson Airplane fans will be familiar with this. It's got this, this brown sort of paper in a sleeve. It's on Grunt, the label. But yeah, like I said, as far as I can tell, this is an original pressing. The cover's a little bit, got a split seam here, that sort of thing. But apart from that, the record is actually in very, very good shape. I'm very happy to have found this for a £5. I've always been curious about it. I've got a few records by Jefferson Airplane, and all of those I picked up in California, Northern California. You know, while I was there, it seemed crazy not to. I can't say that I've listened to them that much. I've even got a Paul Kantner record too. I should spend more time investigating those. I don't know, for whatever reason I haven't had time. I will do eventually. So this was a really sort of welcome addition to my collection of that. What I thought I'd try and do is see if I can't get the grocery bag that goes on. It's probably quite rare, and I've always been kind of curious to how it looks and how it works. But apparently it is actually a whole-size grocery bag, so big that this record would fit inside, and then the rest of the bag folds over onto the, to the back. And on the front you've got JA, and I think it says something else up here, Jefferson Airplane, and then there's nothing else. So if I can't get hold of a copy, I thought I might even try and make one myself. It can't be so hard, and just for the hell of it, just for the fun. Yeah, there you go. So from there we went to a bar type restaurant type coffee shop type place. I can't remember what it was called. Big old place, had a lot of people in there, and there was sort of comfy sofas and chairs at the front end, so we kind of grabbed space there, sat down. I had to drive home, so I could really only drink a couple of beers in my time there, and then soon after that I was on to coffee. So it was great. And while we sat there, Jason Funnyface came, who was actually holding a stall at the record fair, and he came and joined us at this place and sat down and had a chat. It was very interesting to see him, interesting to hear him, because he spoke to me a little bit about the way he acquires records and all this sort of stuff. And he is really someone that likes to collect things as sort of immaculate as he can. I should imagine that a record like this wouldn't be of any interest to him, but it is to me. And eventually, it come time for me to say goodbye and walk to my car and drive home. But it was great fun. Really had a good time. Glad I went there. I understand we all kind of partially suggested that we should get together next in Birmingham, which would be really good because it's a bit closer to me. I mean, it's still a few hours drive, but hey, much closer, and could be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. All right, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video, and look out for my next film. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.